Hi, everyone. My name is Bobby Lambert. I'm the director of bands at Wando High School in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. We're coming to you today with our third Patterns for Success broadcast, coming to you from not so beautiful today, Mount Pleasant. We just had several really bad storms go through here, as I'm sure many of you are dealing with right now. Hope you and your family are doing well. Not only do we have this quarantine and this virus, and many of us sheltering in place, but it also has this weather ramification that's there. So wherever you are, we hope that you're safe, and also we hope that you are trying to thrive a little bit in this situation. It's really easy to get bogged down with all the crummy stuff that's going on, but I had some great meetings with our students and with our staff over the past few days. And if you haven't talked with maybe your directors or with other leadership team or just other people in your band, it might be good to set up maybe just a get together with your section sometime this week. And if not everybody comes, that's okay. But we've had a really good time. And there are a couple of games that you can actually play using Zoom and a couple of other things that you can do. Check into that. Just having a couple of hours to hang out certainly did me a lot of good the last few days. So hopefully many of you are signing in and logging in right now. The purpose of this third Patterns of Success episode is to answer some of your questions. The last time we did some leadership session stuff about character, content, and communication, the three sides of a leader. And we had so many questions there at the end that we couldn't quite get to them all. So we decided we would devote one episode to just some questions, but we thought we'd do about half and half, 30 minutes of conducting, a little bit of review, but a little bit of moving ahead and doing some basic exercises to get your brain thinking and your body used to moving. And then the second 30 minutes will be with the Wando drum majors who you might be able to see over there. They're going to be answering questions during this first 30 minutes and then kind of give you some of their takes on certain themes that they keep seeing. So be thinking right now of any leadership questions that you have, or maybe even conducting questions. And during this first 30 minutes, please feel free to go ahead and shoot that to our question and answer section right down here at the bottom of your screen. And those folks will be happy to help you out with that. And then in the last 30 minutes, we'll address as many of those as we possibly can. Before I get started, though, I wanted to tell you about the next two episodes coming up. I'm really, really excited about them. On the next episode, it will be a lot of leadership technique, especially conflict management. And that'll be led by Mr. Taylor Watts. Taylor is one of the band directors at Cal High School in Cobb County, Georgia. When Wando needs a leadership clinician, he's who I call. He's incredible. And if you've never gotten to see him work, drop everything and be here. 1 week from today, Wednesday, 4 o'clock Eastern time next week. 2 weeks after that, we're going to have Spartacus himself, Koji Mori, who is an orchestra director in Cobb County. He's going to be on here talking about some more advanced conducting techniques, especially for any of you who also play strings or play other instruments as well. He's a trumpet player by trade, but has been teaching orchestra now for about 5 years. Just an amazing conductor, amazing human being. You won't want to miss either one of those episodes. So with that, I'll jump right in. I hope you've already warmed up and remembering some of our exercises from the last few times, just some of the stretches that take us and work our shoulders, triceps, chest, all those things. Now, I've actually gone ahead and done that, so I'm in a pretty good place. If you need to at any point stop and stretch, please feel free. Just remind you that we take everything from that PowerPoint. If you'll remember, it's the center of our torso. We take our rib cage and 2 fingers below where we would do the Heimlich maneuver. That's the center of our body. If you'll notice, my arms are parallel to the ground. And I center them up here so that I can find the center of my body, and I want to have my downbeat there. Do you remember the word that begins with I that is the technical term for downbeat? It's the ictus. If you couldn't quite remember, the ictus, I-C-T-U-S. That's the downbeat. That's the most important part of our pattern. We want to make sure that that's clear, and for our pattern, the arrow pattern, it's always in the same place, always right here. So I go back here to center, and I rotate my arms out. I'm thinking shoulder width apart, the very tips of my shoulders straight down. So your conducting is going to look a little bit different than mine and from other people's as far as width, but as far as what it looks like on our bodies, it should all be the same. Centered, rotate, And just to get things started again, if you'll remember, we talked about the 4 hinges: the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and the fingers. And just doing a couple of exercises where you just move the shoulder. My elbow isn't engaged, it's just going wherever my shoulder takes it. Then for this one, I'm going to leave the shoulder alone and simply move the elbow. So I can really think about isolating that hinge. Good. And for the next one, just the wrist. Notice my fingers are staying exactly in the same place. You may not be able to tell that as I'm watching it. I'm like, wait, are they moving? But it's always the same place. And then for the last one, the fingers, keeping the wrist absolutely still, but allowing the fingers to move. You see my 11-year-old daughter going through the background there. So life is continuing as normal. Here we go. So there are the fingers. Hinge 1, 2, 3, and 4. Most of our conducting is going to involve this second hinge here. Centered up, shoulder width apart. And now I'm just going to set the hinges. The L, slight 10-degree lift, and fingers as if I were shaking your hand. Here we go. Just doing a couple of ones. Ready and go. 1, 1, 1, 1. Now, the way I have it on my screen, I'm going right to the bottom, and I'm trying to go to that exact same spot every single time. Just feeling that idea of bouncing the basketball, I could just take a shot right there. Boom, 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 shoot. So if you ever forget, what does that feel like? Remember, it's like bouncing a basketball. Let me show you the wrong way of doing this, keeping everything the exact same speed. That looks a little bit more like, if you've ever seen those cat statues that are waving, that's not the motion that we want to have. Bouncing the basketball, letting gravity take effect. Notice my fingers are together, thumb is relaxed. And when you feel comfortable, go ahead and add that left hand into it. Now, if you'll notice, I'm really trying to stay tall and strong. I don't want anything to look like I'm diminutive in any of this. So to get there too, let's think about taking a good breath. One more of them. Ready to center, rotate it out, bounce the basketball. Ready and go. 1, 1, 1, 1. Strong and tall. Think about what your feet are doing right now. We want them to be planted into the earth. Strong foundation. No bouncing at all. Add that left hand in when you're ready. Now I'm going to go through the checkpoints that we did last time. If you'll remember, the first one, the end of one, is high. It's fingertips even with the eyebrow. High. High there. 1, 1, 1, 1, and high there. Let's do 3 ones and stop at the end of one. Ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 1, and there you go. Again, ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 1, and 1, 1, 1, 1, and there it is, saying the high, getting that checkpoint. Eyebrows, fingertips. The next thing I want to do is cheeseburger. Cheeseburger is one of my favorite ones for obvious reasons. So I go from high back down to the ictus, back down to that center point, and I come in. Remember our arrow. This is the first prong of that arrow. 1 and 2 and. And if you'll remember, I've got the cheeseburger right here. My hands are flat to the audience or to the musicians. And I've got this cheeseburger right here, not the Hardee's double pounder. Well, I just mixed metaphors, didn't I? It's not the heart attack burger. It's just that regular one. And of 2. So let's try and do the and of 2. Ready and go. 1 high, 2 and I can take a bite of that cheeseburger. Try it for me again. Ready and go. 1 and 2 and there's that cheeseburger. So we've got high, cheeseburger, and if you remember the and of, we go back to the ictus, still the same place. and then make the other prong of the arrow for the hug. Cheeseburger, hug. Now, as I told you, there are two different ways that I like to see the and of 3 with your hands. For some people, it's a little bit more comfortable with the thumbs up, as if I really were completely giving you a hug. Others will flare the thumb forward and the hand out just a little bit. Either one is okay. The thing that I want to make sure that I'm really careful with is I go from cheeseburger, the and, my elbow, if you'll notice, has to extend. If I don't do that, we call it the Tyrannosaurus Rex arms. If you've ever seen some of those great videos or cartoons where the Tyrannosaurus Rex is trying to get somebody and all they have to do is get into a long enclosure because they can't reach in. Don't want Tyrannosaurus Rex arms. We've got to extend the elbows. This is where the shoulder comes into play for the first time of the pattern. Let's see if we can go to hug. Ready and go. 1 high, cheeseburger, hug. And I would be ready to just embrace the ensemble that way. Okay, let's go one more time. Ready and go. 1 and 2 and 3. Good deal. Now the and of 4, we come back to the ictus for the downbeat of 4. And of 4 is just like high, but we're going to engage our shoulders to take us about 7, 8 more inches. This is if I were giving somebody a high 5. So I go from hug, ictus, high 5. Notice the difference between and of 1 and of 4. Because remember, count 1 is always the most important beat, and we need to have the greatest distance, i.e. the fastest movement to the and of 1. So let's think about and of 3, hug, ictus, high 5. Notice how much my shoulders engage here. For 1, 2, they're almost not used at all. For the and of 3, it helps me to extend my arm a bit. If I didn't, it would look like this. So I need it to finish up the last, say, 8 inches of the and of 3. And then it's really used right there for the and of 4. So let's try to go all the way to high 5. Ready? And of 4. Centered and set. Ready and go. 1, 2, 3. Stopping here. And I want to be this high. Cool. Let's try that again. Set. Ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would just come back down to 1. Now, if you're really watching carefully, you can notice that I'm traveling exactly in straight lines every time. If I had a chalkboard, I would draw, I would even hold a set of chalk and draw a straight line down, first prong, second prong of the arrow, and all the way back up. If you know anything about our camp, we talk about being the tip of the arrow, and it's shown in our conducting pattern just as well as it's shown in our character. So let's go through 2 measures of 4/4 time, just seeing if we can get that idea of bouncing the basketball and passing through each of the checkpoints. So I'm set at 0. Ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop. Good deal. Now the real accurate way of bringing our horns down for the group is instead of going from here to here, hopefully you have that center now, we literally bring our arms together like this so that as you're on the podium, you can stand in a relaxed position, but it's very engaged still. I'm not standing here chilling like a villain. I have my arms folded, just standing, listening, and being prepared for the next directives, okay? So let's go 2 more measures of 4/4 time, okay? If I were at home, if I were you, I would have my metronome on 80 to 90, and I would be following along exactly with that. Unfortunately here, the sound doesn't sync up very well, so bear with me, and when you practice this, make sure you're always using a metronome. So now let's go to our new set, and we bring the instruments up. Ready and go. And 1, 2, 3, 4. High 5. 1. Cheeseburger. Hug. High 5. 1. Bring their instruments down. One of the things that I encourage drum majors to do is to never let down until the director or the staff member gives us a relax. So you're showing that example each time of being here and at the ready. we went over the last time different meters, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with that. I'm just going to remind you really quickly. If I go from 5-4, that's my favorite one because that's a double cheeseburger. We simply add another 2. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we already know 4-4. 3-4 starts to take away things. My least favorite, it takes away the cheeseburger. We go high, hug, high five. High, hug, high five. So the cheeseburger got wiped out of the 3-4 time. 2-4, we take out high. It's just hug and high five. 2-4, ready and go. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Notice it's still the arrow pattern, still the ictus in the same place, but I simply have left out high and cheeseburger. Okay? Excellent. So then the last one is 1, and we've already done that. It's the balancing of the basketball, just simply 1. So one of the first exercises that I taught you last time was through the meters, and we go 5-4, 4-4, 3-4, 2-4, and 1-4. Let's see if we can try that together, okay? Here we are, set. Get that stance ready to go. If you ever need to take a breath. Anything feels tight, just stop and stretch. And here we go, through the meters, going down. Horns are up. Ready, and 5-4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-4 time now. 1, 2, 3. 3-4 time. 1, 2, 3, 2-4. 1, 2, and 1. 1, stop. We bring their instruments down and wait for the next exercise. Let's go in reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we are. Set. 1-4, starting. Ready, and go. And 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5, 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. Fight the temptation to end and drop. I know anytime I teach a camp of great kids, they have that tendency each time because they're getting frustrated with their conducting. You need to start removing yourself from that process. And that's what all these exercises are attempting to do, to make it so that it feels so natural. You're not thinking about it. You're simply evaluating and adapting to what the ensemble is giving you. So fight that urge to drop down. If you make a mistake, the magic one to the rescue. Let's pretend for a second that I've forgotten 3-4. Let me show you how I would deal with that. Ready and go. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You do the fake it till you make it adage right there. We also call it the magic 1. If you ever get lost in a meter, 1 always works. You can't go wrong with 1 until you find out where they are and you make things go. So let's put that all together. 5-1, 1-5. We won't repeat 1. Here we go. Through the meters, all the way. Ready, 5-4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4-4, 2, 3, 3-4 now. 1, 2, 3, 2-4. 1, 2, 1, 2-4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4-4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. There we go. If you made a mistake, I guarantee you it was between 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Take just a minute on your own right now and fix that. See what you can do on your own to make that go a little bit better. While some people are working on that, if you're having any questions, please make sure that you're talking with our drum majors over there. I think, are you guys getting some questions already that you're kind of working through? Yeah, okay, I get a thumbs up there. So good job, everybody. All right, let's try the exercise one more time. And I want you, wherever you are, to try and count with us. Now, what's tough is I know that the visual and my audio may not quite be together. So again, remember, if I were practicing this on my own, I would set the metronome 60, 70, 80, wherever you feel like you can nail it every time. and just count out loud. Okay, here we are. Set. Horns are up. Through the meters. Ready and go. And 1, 2, 3. Think ahead to 4, 4. 1, 2. Think ahead to 3, 4. 1, 2. 2, 4's coming up and right into 1. Back to 2, 3, 4. And 4, 4. Finish out with 5, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop. You wanted to break down, didn't you? Yeah, me too. I have to really think about making sure that I hold that so that that's what I plan to do all the time. It feels good to get more difficult exercises correct. I'm going to take it one step. For many of you, that's enough. That's a great place to really focus on different tempos. Some of you are ready to move on to the next exercise, and that is through the alphabet or through the meters with the alphabet. So for this one, I'm just going to simply go straight forward. I got to tell you, last time I forgot the W, so the drum majors have given me a little bit of a hard time about that. So I want to make sure that I've got my alphabet right. Really, the basic idea is I want to be able to say something differently than what my brain is having to process with my hands moving. I want this to feel completely natural. I can talk about many things. I can talk faster or slower. I can talk really, really soft. Or I can talk really, really loud and nothing changes about what my pattern's doing. That looks easier than it really is. I gotta tell you, that's been a long time of my trying to work on that. So don't be frustrated. I can remember the first year I was trying to conduct, if I got floor, door, wall, ceiling, I was pretty happy. So wherever you are is just fine. Here we go. Through the meters, alphabet forward. Listen carefully to how we end it, okay? Here we are. Stance, breath. Set. Ready and go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop for me, because I'm an idiot. Here we go. Through the meters. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now we are done. You wanted to break down hard on that last one, didn't you? I could almost feel that over the internet waves right there, that you wanted to break down as soon as you got it, because many of you got it. Many of you were super close, and some of you are like, I just need to count, and that's totally fine, wherever you are. Every time I've done this for a new group, it takes a while. But I knew some of you have had conducting experience, if not with us, with other people. So that's a great exercise. For my most advanced people, you may know the next exercise I'm doing. It's through the meters going backwards with the alphabet. So it's been a little while since I've done this, so I'm not sure if I can pull it off, but we'll give it a try. If you can't do the letters backwards, just count. If you can do the letters forward, you count and don't let me mess you up, okay? Here we are. Set. So just moving forward, Z, Y, X, W, you got it. Here we are. Ready and go. And Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, H, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Done are we now. And now you can let your mind explode. That's what mine did right then. So I totally get it. And as you're going through, when I'm doing such higher level thinking, I really have to know what my pattern's doing. So take a video of yourself trying to do anything. I've even had people say, go through your address. Tell me your multiplication tables. Tell me whatever. And you can do those things in time, but just making your brain think outside 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wanted to end this session with a little bit of the advanced conducting exercises. And if you'll remember, when we first started, we used some of the Elizabeth Green flow study. And I'm purposely staying away from that because in 2 weeks when Koji is with us, he is quite the master when it comes to this. And remember, we did straight out, straight in. Everything still emanating from the center of our body. Absolutely. So the first one we want to do is just simply taking our left hand and doing that flow study. Now, if you'll notice, you can do it like this. You can do it open palm if you want to. I sometimes think it's a little bit easier to think of painting a fence and taking that paintbrush. If you'll notice, there's certainly a plane that's out here. I'm not making a big ellipse. I'm going to the fence and I'm using the brush strokes there. So with me in 4 counts, let's see if we can do that. Okay, ready and go. Up, 2, 3, 4, all the way and down. 2, 3, 4. For my open-handed folks, 2, 3, 4, and down. 2, 3, 4, and in. 2, 3, 4, and down. 2, 3, 4. If you'll notice, it does leave at the top and bottom of the fence, but we're just trying to get a natural flow for what's going on. Let's see if we can add the right hand, just doing ones. Ready and go. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So are we getting that basketball bounce that we got before? 1, 1, 1. Can you see hey or high at the top? 1, high, high, high. Good. Now, if you want to add a little bit more challenge, just start doing different meters. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And notice my left hand is still doing exactly the same thing. And that's what I want. 1, 2. And we can do 4, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, a variation of that is doing those different meters, but making the left hand finish in that amount of time. So let's just think 4, 3, 2, 1, and the left hand has to go up for 4, down for 4, up for 3, down for 3, up for 2, up, down for 2, up 1, down 1. So the rate of motion is going to be a little bit different each time. Give it a try. Set. Ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and down. 2, 3. Here's 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 2, 4, 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, 1, done. Okay, so just some of those variations. If you get really excited about that, you can go back and do 5, down to 1, back to 5. Really, we're just taking those exercises and starting to stack them on top of each other. The reason for this exercise is, yes, independence of hands. We call these independence of hands exercises. But if you'll notice, that's exactly what we want to do in a crescendo and in a diminuendo. That's where that exercise goes into play. I'll show you how to do that really quickly, and then we're going to jump into your questions. So when I do a crescendo, I don't like this. I feel like I'm a Broadway actor or like I'm carrying a tray of food over my head. Neither one quite fits what I want it to be. So I like doing scoop your hand in the sand and let it run through your fingers and then drop it and come back down. So let's see if we can try that together. Scoop, let it run out your fingers, and push down. Cool, so just 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and down. 2, 3, and 4. Scoop up the sand, 2, 3, 4, and now smear it into that freshly painted fence that we just made. Scoop, 2, 3, 4, and smear. 2, 3, 4. 2 ways you can do the exercise with the right hand, only in ones. If you're just really trying to get that style set, 1, 2, 3, 4, and smear. Smear, 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 and scoop. 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and now 4, 4 time, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and smear, 2, 3, 4, and scoop, 2, 3, 4, and smear, 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 stop, bring it in. Good. Wherever you are is fine. This took a long time for me. Some of the exercises that we'll be talking about in the next coming weeks are some more advanced independence of hands, doing just circles while the right hand, and doing different speeds while that right hand is staying at different, or staying at the same tempo. Doing some things with what we call one hand behind the other. This hand is conducting a regular 4/4 pattern. This hand is conducting a regular 4/4 pattern. But however, later on, this one starts at 1 and this one starts a beat later. So I'm still going through every one of those checkpoints, every single one of them. And you can find high, you can find all the other stuff right there. Then later on, we're going to do 4 against 3. One hand conducting in 4, the other conducting in 3, and then we'll reverse them mid-pattern so that this guy jumps over to 3, then this one jumps over to 4. And then we'll get really crazy and start doing some alphabet backwards. We'll start doing some different things with size of pattern, with tempo, especially getting in faster. I know right now everything's been around 60, 70, 80, whereas I know much of your marching music is not. We'll talk about stop time conducting for anything that's around the 150 and above range. I know the drum major's been working feverishly at doing some of the questions. I think Caroline is up first. I hope you guys are ready with talking through some of the questions. They're going to go through and give you some of the questions. I'm going to go in, they're going to answer one. I'm going to go in and try and find some as well that maybe they have missed. And we'll see what we can do about answering questions. So Caroline is one of our junior drum majors. She's a junior in high school, and she's a great trumpet player. So Caroline, take it away.
All right. Hi, guys. The question I wanted to start with was someone was asking how you differentiate between talking to your friends and continuing to be a friend versus how you go about being a drum major, and how that has to be two separate relationships. And I always reference it as a switch. And I always talk about my drum major switch, and you have to set that role that certain things aren't acceptable when you are a drum major, and you have to have a certain relationship while being a drum major. And then at other times you can go and you can be friendly and outside of rehearsals and things, but you have to be able to set that difference, and people have to know that there is a difference.
Great. Thanks a lot, Caroline. I appreciate that. And Anna, I think you are up next, right?
Am I on? Okay, great. Hi. So I was a senior this year in the band, and I was our head drum major, as we say. There were a few questions asking about, someone said specifically, my band has 3 or 4 full-time drum majors. What are the advantages and disadvantages of having a head drum major? I responded and said, it can be a good thing, because when you have that central figure, on the field, they're the person who sets tempo, whether it's right or wrong at the time. Every drum major who isn't that central figure has to follow and link in with that one drum major, so everybody on the field sees the same thing. Again, whether that central figure is right or wrong, at least everybody on the field is seeing the exact same thing, and which is, cannot tell you how important that is, and I'm sure you all know that, whether you're a drum major or a marcher yourself. Then someone else asked the same thing, but in a social dynamic of the drum major section itself. I wouldn't necessarily say with the drum major section there is that head drum major, except just with our group specifically, just because there were 4 of us this year, as there are every year. And with that, every drum major is important, whether you are a senior or a junior or a sophomore, whatever situation you're in. Every drum major has a specific position, and they were put there for a reason, just like if you're on leadership. But being a drum major off the field, it's about doing the things that you aren't asked to do. It's about helping people, whether you are, again, a senior or a junior. So I would just think of drum major as that section. You are all a drum major, but on the field, it is very helpful to have that central figure.
Good deal. Thanks, Anna. And I can tell you, I've been asked that many times. Some of you who may be on the side or whatever may feel like, well, I can conduct this better. I can do, doesn't matter. It always has to be what the center person is doing and things going off from that. Now, these guys will tell you that I've even said, like, for example, Audrey had to start a couple of things, and she was actually in the back. We have 2 drum majors in back and 2 in front, so it surrounds the group because we turn so much. And there were several times that Audrey had to start stuff, and there were a couple of places where Caroline was on front with Anna, but I had her specifically cue trumpets. There was a place in the show, if you remember, where the trumpets were playing something, and I said, everything, it's about the trumpets and Caroline. So there are a couple of exceptions, but everything really flows through that center podium, whatever that may be. Audrey, I think you're up, my friend.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about like gaining the confidence as like a drum major and being confident in yourself as a leader. So basically, to gain confidence, what helped me a lot was just practice in time. Because I remember the first time I had to like start the band doing something, it was so nerve-wracking, and I like had a heart attack. I was like, oh no, everyone's watching me. It's not good, but you just have to put yourself out there and just like start doing it, because once you get past it like the first time, it gets so much better, and then over time your nerves go down. So for confidence, I would just say practice, and then if you're wondering about confidence for like your technique, just ask other people like your band director or video yourself conducting and just like critique yourself.
Great. Were there any others that you guys wanted to answer while we're going through? Yeah, Anna, go ahead.
I know you all couldn't see this out there, but a minute ago, my brother came in. He was actually head drum major at Wando last year, let's say.
It's so long we've all forgotten.
I know, right? Who cares about him? It's fine. We don't care about him.
No, he's terrific too.
There was a very broad question in here, and a lot of other people asked it too, is how is it, or how are you supposed to be a good leader? And I'm like, wow, what a question. And AJ came in and he was like, oh, let me just type this out. And it was a really good, concise response. He said, it cannot happen overnight, but you would need to consistently hold yourself and those around you to a high standard of attainment. This creates trust and bonds that effectively build skills that benefit you and those around you. There's a lot more that goes into that, obviously, but being a leader is not about being in front of the band. It is not about having the title of leadership. It is about everything else. It is about being the person who picks up the trash off the field. It is about making sure the person who didn't have a great day today, or maybe just got bad news from something, that you are the one that checks in on them, whether you are asked to or not, and building yourself up and holding yourself to a higher standard and setting that example for the band around you.
I'll do one while you guys maybe take a look for one other one. Audrey, unless you have one already, Audrey and Caroline, do you want a little bit of time, or you ready? Okay, go for it, Caroline.
It's kind of off of that, but it's more about the idea, are people worried that people won't respect them in their band program? And I think respect doesn't come from you forcing it and you demanding that. And like Anna just talked about, it's the person that picks up the trash, and it's the person who stays behind and is a resource for others and is a friendly face, that you know everybody's name in the program, and people know that they can come to you and they can trust you to help them. And to be someone who is just helpful to others is more of being a leader, and you will gain more respect that way because people will treat you like a friend.
It's such a difficult tightrope to walk, of trying to be a friend and peer and equal, while the directors are looking at you to be a leader and set the example. I can tell you that for us at Wando, one of the things that I hadn't said it this way before, but it made it very clear when we did our audition, our interview stuff for Leadership Now, is we feel that the leaders are us when we can't be there. And what I mean by that is there are more of you than there are of us. So in those situations where we can't be there, like each sectional, each rehearsal on every yard line, we expect you to be that for us. But then when you can't do that, when something is keeping you from that, meaning maybe a disrespectful peer, maybe someone who just will not listen to reason, your job has to stop right there. And that's when the adult has to get involved. So many of you take a problem and live with it way longer than you ever should. Go to a director, go to an adult, go anybody, parents, anybody, alumni, and just ask them, hey, I'm struggling with this person. Don't go to them to gossip. Go to them about, I'm having trouble with this person. What can I do to better engage them? And when you start to kind of listen and figure those things out, you can get some feedback. And sometimes the adults will tell you, you need to go to a director. See, you can actually make a problem worse by sitting on it too long. Haven't we all had that before? You've turned in an assignment and you never hear about it. You never hear about it. You never hear about it. And like the day before grades are due, you suddenly get a 56 that pops up. What if you'd had 2 more weeks to kind of figure out what went wrong and make that go? Problems are exactly the same. They will fester if they're not attended to. Audrey, do you have something? You good? Okay. Well, I'll tell you, go ahead, Caroline, finish one up, and I'm going to finish typing one right here.
This is actually kind of for you, but there's people asking how to deal with a new band director, and none of us have really been in that position.
Yeah, I've been here too long now, haven't I? I mean, like, we went through this 6 years ago. I'll tell you, I actually did just answer it in the Q&A. So if you want to see my answer, feel free to click over there. And what I said was going or trying to find a way to communicate via Zoom with the leaders and with that new director. And one of the things that let me finish this and go back into what I had said. Where am I? You guys are answering questions furiously. Here it is. Oh, no, it's not. That's a different one. Well, basically what I said was trying to get the leaders to come together and set up a Zoom meeting with this new director. I said, before you do that though, kind of think through what are some of the things your band is most known for? Are you really super intense at football games, or is that not that big of a deal at your school? Are you really into competitive marching band, or are you a little bit more into show band or HBC style band or Midwest style band? Whatever it is, you want to be able to talk about that. Well, what does that mean? It just means like sending them a video of your band and letting them know, here's the things that we're very proud of. Maybe we're really about our concert band and marching band is an extension of that. Whatever it is, you want to be ready to talk to them about, here's some of the things that have been important to us so far, not so that you can tell them what they need to do, but just so they can know what the climate is. I remember sitting down with the drum majors then of Wando and saying, okay, I'm a totally new person. And so you're not going to offend me. But if you could change one thing about the way the Wando program is set up, what would it be? Now, here's the bizarre thing. I remember clearly the answer. These guys won't quite understand it in the same way. 2 of the 4 said, get rid of the medical tent. We used to have like a triage center where there would be at least 12 to 20 students every rehearsal, and a team of parents that were there catering to their every need. They had 2 industrial-sized fans that were blowing across. They had ice buckets. And they were even joking about having a frequent flyer card, so that kids who came in there every day, they got a card for coming. It was like, oh my gosh. But it caused so much animosity between the students that were trying to work hard to look over and see somebody sitting in the shade and lounging. Now, having somebody there to provide medical attention, these guys will tell you, we have a physical therapist often, we'll have a nurse, we'll have somebody there with medical training. I'm all about that and keeping kids healthy, but I'm not about being club med over there and having students able to go and just chill out for a while. So with that was their big thing. And when I got rid of that at the end of my first year, there was like a party about this. So you have to find out some of the things that, what do you feel are some of the things that maybe they can know coming into it, because you're not going to hurt their feelings. But I would tell you this, under all circumstances, be ready to change. I think one of the things that and I tried to change almost nothing my first year at Wando. There was a thing that the administration made me change. We used to take shirts off for rehearsal. Almost everybody did it to the degree in which they could, and that was a big thing. And our assistant principal at the time came down and said, we need to stop this. We're changing that for everybody on the campus. We're not going to allow that anymore. And I had her come in and talk to the kids, and they were ready to shoot me after we were done with that rehearsal because I had put an end to something that they felt was a strong tradition. Now, we don't even think about it anymore. We don't talk about it very much. Every once in a while, I have to give a reminder of like, guys, we can't do that. Ladies, we got to do it. Like, we have to remind them. But please be ready to change and adapt. I think if I could go back to the kids that were here 6 years ago and show them what we're doing now, I think they would have gladly changed. They were just afraid they would get worse. Most directors, all directors, want the band to be better every single year. And so when they try something, they want to make it better. Allow yourself to adapt and grow as a leader, but as a band program for sure. Any others that you all saw that you want me to take a look at? I was trying to answer at the same time, but I don't think I can type and talk and think at the same time. Go, Anna.
So Mr. Lambert talked about this in one of the previous videos, I think, but someone asked, what is one technique that your band uses to maintain good focus? Now, we all know this can be a struggle sometimes.
Never with us. I mean, we're just hardcore every day.
Every day. Grind never stops. Anyways, so we have a system in our band, and obviously the advice I'm giving you now, this is what Mr. Lambert was just talking about. This is a change. This is a system change. You would need to communicate please with your directors about this. But we have a system in our band where before we do a rep on the field, Mr. Lambert gives the instruction from the giant tower behind us, and he gives the instruction like, okay, C to D in the ballad, and then he tells this band to stand by. Then our head drum major, who was me this past year, I would repeat the instructions to the band and then begin the exercise. So that is where the instruction is coming from. And then I repeat the instructions and say set, and then the band repeats it back to me. They better repeat it back to me good, or Mr. Lambert's going to get on me that it's not good enough. This is a really good way to keep focus. And some people might say like, oh, that sounds really strict and aggressive. When you're giving commands to a band, don't think of it as yelling at them, but think of it as projecting. You are just using the air that is in your stomach and just pushing it across. You're not yelling or screaming. There should be no strain when you are talking to the band. It's just projecting your voice to a louder volume, like you're turning up the volume on your lungs or something. This is a really good way to keep focus and just keep your band motivated to keep moving forward, and it keeps rehearsals going way quicker than stopping between each rep and talking to each other like this. You just keep going, and it's great. Highly suggest it.
Yeah, so just further about that, I would tell you that with each of there were times when I would say, there was a woodwind feature that was kind of right in front of Caroline. I would say, Caroline, take them through this. And she would say, okay, through letter C, woodwinds, she would go through the whole thing, and they would say, C to D, woodwinds only, and lock, and they bring their instruments up, and she's going. When Audrey had to start part of the show, it was like, okay, Audrey, take us back through this. And she started it. So it's a really cool technique that I think allows the bond between major and student to be a bit stronger. And it like she said, it does keep everybody listening, because if you don't repeat it back, if enough people don't repeat it back, we stop, and it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm the reason that rehearsal halted. It's not aggressive, it's just clear. So I think that's a really great idea. If you want a little bit more information about that, you can look at some drum corps rehearsals. I know Crown does that to a certain degree. I think Bluecoats does that to a certain degree. There's some great folks that you can find online doing a rehearsal. Anything else from you guys? Well, I was going to answer one more, but if you have one that you can do, you okay? They're looking feverishly, so I'll tell you what. One of the things that I saw on here, let me bring that back. Oh, good. Now, actually, and you've already taken care of that. All right. Oh, good. So you're asking a lot of great questions about conducting. How do I build up my endurance? How do I conduct different meters? I even saw like cut time, 3-2, any of those kinds of things. And they've got the answers to those in there. When in doubt, ask your band director. Don't struggle through. You can sometimes find good videos online, but I will tell you, there are some not very good videos online for the drum major about conducting. When they start talking about showmanship and flash and performance and all that, that's not what we're about. We are about presenting the music clearly for the ensemble in front of us and being a bit of the face of the group. But those are two different things. When I'm on the podium, it is all about the band and my trying to do what I can do to make their performance great. When I'm off the podium, yes, I am a bit of the funnel through which everything comes. And you have to be a great go-between. And I want to focus on that for just a second. A great go-between from the director to the students. If you're hearing something like, we've got a lot of students complaining about this, please go. And I've had several student leaders come to me and say, hey, we're having a problem with this. How would you deal with that? Sometimes I do need to get involved. Like, the kids are really upset because of this. I'll give you a great example. At the beginning of the year, and maybe each year, we lose track of water break time. And so we'll stop, hush, you guys are fine, suck it up. But we do. Like by the time we get rehearsal started, I think we do a good job. But at the beginning of the year, we tend to get really focused on, I've got to get through these 20 pages of drill, and no matter what, we're going to get there. And these guys have gotten, the worst thing that students can do is they start to get angry. You've talked about hangry before, being hungry and angry at the same time. Thirsty and angry is just as worse, or it's just as bad, if not worse. So these guys have a pretty good, they'll turn around and do that, or they'll do something, or they might just say, like when I say, okay, take it back and do that again, drink. And I think I am pretty good about when you guys say that, I'm like, oh, got it, like stop and go. That's one of the big things that I would tell you, that we as directors, our brains are in a different place. Just like when I was having you conduct with the alphabet backwards, try doing that and then remember water breaks every whatever minutes it is during the season of the year. Usually I will tell you that we have pretty clear guidelines of, if it's this hot and this humidity level, we do this much time. And we've found it actually works better to do more shorter breaks. That's worked out really super well for us. One of the worst things that you can do, and one of the things I don't think we really have done in a while, is say, okay, let's take 12 minutes and just go take a break and then come back. Because coming back is terrible. We're all suddenly in the desert and we're starting day one of the 40-year journey across. So it's just pitiful. So I would encourage you to, if you get to manage that, and sometimes you do, just having a system to say, okay, I'll let you know. I even will tell them, hey, I need you to let me know every 20 minutes, every 12 minutes, every whatever. Several staff members will do that with them too. That brings me to one other thing. As I've heard them talk about this, one of the things they won't tell you that I will is every one of them is willing to do whatever is needed. Notice I didn't say whatever is asked, whatever is needed. So when we've had that trash out on the field, or when we've needed to load the pit, or we've gotten a sudden downpour and electronics need to be taken in, or whatever, those folks, our drum majors, are the first ones to start to help and the last ones to leave. And so therefore, I would tell you that rarely do we have any kind of respect issues that are major. We may have one or two individuals who may have a problem, but I would say in the last several years, because they've seen that servant leadership, the band has seen that servant leadership from our drum majors, we don't have those kinds of dramatic problems. I was thinking about this, and I'll close with this stuff. We talk about things we want in a band. We want passionate performances. We want dedicated members. We want enthusiasm. We want this. And then we say, we don't want any drama. We don't want any hurt feelings. We don't want any anger. I don't think you can have one without the other. How can you have passionate human beings who are complacent and compliant in everything they do? I don't think it's possible. How can you have, incredibly dedicated members who also don't look at others and demand the same from them and maybe cause a little bit of a problem. I say all that because of this. I think one of the major mistakes any leader, band director, teacher, parent can make is to think it's going to run drama-free, problem-free, at the highest level with the greatest results. Let me say that one more time. Drama-free, problem-free, at the highest efficiency with the greatest results. That can't happen. That does not exist anywhere. It's like the perpetual motion machines of, that day. People were trying to figure out that if they just got the right setup, the right equation, a machine could create its own momentum. But it was proven pretty clearly that can't happen. Even just wind resistance is going to slow things down. Gravity is going to slow things down. There's going to be something that always slows it down. The moment that you get frustrated that happens, shame on you. That would be like my saying, you're going to sight read a piece and not make any mistakes. That's not going to happen, ever. I don't care how good you are. There's going to be something that you would not do correctly that if you had a little bit of time, you would fix. So you've got to remember that in your program, there are going to be problems. How many of those questions, I see a number of questions that are there, were about conflict, dealing with difficult people, difficult situations, all those things. Guys, this is life. And it's not just band, it's everything. But because we have such an emotionally charged activity, you're going to have drama. You're going to have some of those other things. Unfortunately, some of our most drama-filled sections sometimes have the most passionate and best performing students. I've seen that before in the past. It's very much okay. The last thing you can do is to expect it to all be perfect. So all these problems that you see here, don't go away from it saying, oh my gosh, band is terrible. We're awful. No, you're pretty normal. Think about your family. All families have their stuff. And now that we've all been quarantined together for almost a month, we all are painfully aware of each other's tendencies. There's a great video online where one guy is playing the role of husband and wife. And so he's pretending to be a wife, and he goes, and the wife says, why do you keep doing that over and over? You just keep making that sound. And the husband goes, what, you mean breathing? Yeah, you just do it so loudly. I just never noticed how bad that was. Right now, we're all a little bit fed up with being so close to each other. This is the best training for band leadership that I could possibly imagine. I couldn't have planned it any better for us to be in these situations. How well will you adapt? I can tell you that, Wando, that we have a lot of our exercises that are going up online, a lot of our movement exercises. These guys will tell you our audition stuff went out, and they have 3 videos they have to turn in for movement exercises. They have a playing thing that they have to do, and then they have their concert audition after that. We're all working hard, for sure, and we all know that it's going to be rough, but I can tell you that we will get through it. Your band will get back together. And some of the things that you do now can make it much better or the same. I don't think it'll make it worse, but boy, wouldn't I love to come back after a few months to a better band than what we left way back in, March, maybe before March. So just keep after this stuff. Don't get disillusioned. Don't get disappointed. Don't get bummed out about any of these things. We're here to help you, and we want to continue doing that. Like I said, next Wednesday, we'll have Taylor Watts with us doing some work on conflict management. And then on the next Wednesday, we'll have Koji Mori doing some pretty advanced conducting. And especially for those of you that have any interest in orchestral conducting, you should come along and say hello to him. So it's about that time for us. Thank you to Cecily and to Music for All for putting this together for us one more time. We've had such a great time getting together and talking with you. I hope it's of help for you. Please feel free to check us out on Facebook, post things on Music for All. We may put some things together for you to maybe interact with us while we're not online, maybe a Facebook group or something like that. I don't even understand what Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, I have no idea what any of those things are. so I probably will not be visiting them anytime soon. But the videos are finished that we've done in the previous sessions. And Cecily, can you tell, is there anything, those are posted somewhere, am I correct about that? Or will those be available somewhere for the previous videos?
So after this session is over tomorrow, everybody who registered is going to get a link to upload the recording themselves. And then after that, we'll circulate through social media. If you haven't heard or you haven't checked it out yet, we have a new website through musicforall.org that's dedicated just to educational resources. It's education.musicforall.org. We're still in the process of getting these webinars uploaded, but they're coming very soon. So just keep checking back there. And also you can find a bunch of articles from people like Mr. Lambert and Koji and all of the other wonderful, wonderful people that work with us at Music for All. So yeah.
So keep your ears out for maybe some other possibilities and opportunities, possibly this summer. We all know that it's going to be rough for a while, but please do know that there are people who are working incessantly and continuously to try and make resources available to you, because we all know this is tough. And that's why we're trying to do this the best way that we know how. Thank you for being patient with us. Thank you, Audrey, Anna, and Caroline for being here. Always appreciate it. Thank you, Cecily, and Music for All again. And we'll see everybody next Wednesday, 4 o'clock. See you then.